Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for SD WAN and Peplink, What You Need to Know, this webinar with Frontier Computer Corp. My name is Matt Roney. I'm on the marketing team at Frontier Computer Corp. And I am joined by our Director of Strategic Accounts, Michael Maitland. He'll be presenting on SD-WAN and Peplink and their relationship. I will be taking your questions throughout. I will be asking Mike those questions once the initial presentation is wrapped up. Once again, thank you so much for being here. And Mike, take it away.
Thank you, Matt. And thank you, everyone, for joining today. My name is Michael Maitland, and I'm the Director of Strategic Accounts at Frontier Computer. I've been with Frontier Computer Corp for over 10 years, and 9+ years of those I've been working directly with Peplink, its products, and its solutions. Today, we're going to dig into SD-WAN, but not at a technical deep dive level. We're going to be talking through some general high-level overviews so that you can touch on the different pieces of SD-WAN. With that being said, the things and topics we'll cover today is what is SD-WAN, the benefits of SD-WAN, SD-WAN market overview, how Peplink and SD-WAN fit together, and the role Frontier plays in that. With that being said, what is SD-WAN? First, SD-WAN is an acronym for Software Defined Wide Area Network. And it's a virtual WAN architecture that allows enterprises to leverage any combination of transport services. These could be MPLS, LTE, VSAT, broadband, DSL. If it's IP-based, you name it, it can be used. But what's driving SD-WAN and the need for SD-WAN? Well, that is from the digital transformation. Digital transformation is the use of new and fast and frequently changing digital technologies to solve problems. It's about transforming processes that were non-digital or manual to digital processes. And one of the best examples of this is the digital transformation to cloud computing. Cloud computing is growing at a CAGR of about 20% per year. That's outpacing IT as a whole, which is growing at only 3 to 4%. So optimizing, SD-WAN optimizes the WAN for the cloud and makes it more agile and network on the WAN. What comprises of SD-WAN? Gartner helped us solidify SD-WAN into 4 characteristics. These are pretty straightforward characteristics that can go into much more detail, but those are supports multiple connection types, capable of dynamic path selection. Third is being able to manage the WAN through a simple interface or platform, supports VPNs and other third-party management like services like firewalls or optimization controllers. And we'll dig into each of these more now. First, supports multiple connection types. The usual WAN challenges like high latency, packet loss, and bandwidth limitations, congestions, and costs can all be solved with the help of SD-WAN. By using flexible, affordable commodity lines to either replace or augment MPLS connections, you can create fast, reliable, and affordable data transfers between data centers and peers. But having multiple WANs does not just create SD-WAN. You need to be able to intelligently use those paths with dynamic path selection. DPS enables the simultaneous use of multiple WAN links and automatically fails over to the secondary connection in the event of a WAN outage or brownout. It directs traffic to the optimal path or distributes traffic across the selected paths. Basically, it allows you to use these multiple paths as you choose for each specific application, creating better failover, load balancing, and usage. The third characteristic to SD-WAN is it's able to manage through a simple, easy to use interface. Now, this can be taken to a much greater level. Many have cloud platforms that allow single touch or zero touch configuration, set up notifications, give insight to every device that you have on your network, from the WAN side. Configure management, assign configurations or devices. You're able to push these out to one device or multiple devices in a group. Able to choose and create firewall rules or outbound policies, and also schedule, for example, Wi-Fi or firewall rules. Usually these are hosted publicly, but can also be hosted privately in some instances. And lastly, SD-WAN is able to support VPNs and third-party services. So now to touch more on what the benefits of SD-WAN is. First, if we take a look at what a traditional WAN network looks like, it's highly predictable, but very inflexible and not efficient at all for today's shift to cloud applications, along with the big push to mobile users and the increase of bandwidth demands. By leveraging SD-WAN and the lower cost, more readily available commodity links, we're able to decrease costs, increase agility, have better application performance across the multiple WANs, and allow for the most flexible and expedited deployments. Looking at from a more specific to a role in regards to the benefits, we take network admins, for example. Traditionally, they had to touch every device and configure every device separately that was on the network. This took time, cost money to travel, and was frankly probably quite frustrating as well. With SD-WAN, it's made network admins' lives much easier in many aspects. First, single zero-touch configuration, being able to send a device out and just have to have that location, plug it in and connect it, and able to push down configurations, make changes remotely, create a high level of efficiency for these network admins. You also have much more increased insight into these remote devices. Your ability to pull reports, set notifications and warnings to be notified when something happens is extremely helpful. It also increases the flexibility for the network admins. Many more choices in regards to links that can be used, how to separate and drive applications down certain paths, increasing availability of those high-cost MPLS lines if still used. Many ways that the flexibility supports SD-WAN. And lastly, decreased deployment time. We talked on when you have to touch the device in every location and the pains that can take. Being able to configure and deploy devices remotely greatly decreases that time to deployment. And for an enterprise as a whole, a lot of the movement to the cloud is increasing greater need for connectivity and throughput and bandwidth. SD-WAN tackles this head on. It's able to create a lot more bandwidth and throughput without increasing the costs. Many times the costs are decreased. We've seen costs average about decrease from reports I've read of 30% when deploying SD-WAN. We've seen numbers as high as 80 or 90% on costs or saving. But every network is different, and a lot depends on how the current infrastructure is set up. Also, the increased agility across the WAN. Different deployment types, like privately hosted, hardware or virtual appliance, as well as a wide range of devices, make it flexible to meet your deployment needs. And lastly, a better user experience. Frankly, the user doesn't know if there's SD-WAN involved or not at many times, but they can experience it without even knowing. Everyone's been on a phone call, a webinar, or anything that can get disconnected through traditional means. At that time, you no longer have connectivity. You have to reconnect or terminate or reinitiate that connection. With SD-WAN and the failover and load balancing capabilities, that user has session persistence, and those applications create session persistence to be able to have a better user experience throughout. Benefits for managed service providers. First, The increased flexibility, as we talked on. Easy deploy and manage, and more options for SaaS solutions. So you're able to put programs that fit your needs and able to market that out to your customers. The SD-WAN market as a whole is very interesting. And there are a lot of things driving the fast increase in growth of SD-WAN. A few of those drivers include the adoption of SD-WAN into manufacturing and IoT, the growing need among organizations to simplify network management, implementation of SD-WAN for CapEx and OpEx savings, the flexibility basically of SD-WAN and the way you propose that to your customers can greatly help closing these opportunities. Increased business agility and responsiveness, and rapid migration towards the cloud. In 2017, SD-WAN had a market cap of $1 billion. That's approaching $8 billion for 2021. But as you can see in 2026, the growth will be to $30 billion. That's an average overall growth per year of 30%. Of that, America or North America will hold a market share of about 45% of that. So there's great opportunity and a lot of adoption still in North America that we can focus on. Now to dig into SD-WAN and the role Peplink plays and where they fit. So I've mentioned before that I've been working with Peplink for over 9 years now. And for a long time, we'd meet with marketing, I'd meet with leadership at Peplink, and we discuss how we truly explain and just talk about the Peplink's capabilities in multi-WAN and their VPN technologies. We never really could put our finger on it. And as soon as SD-WAN started to be popularized and discussed, we knew exactly that we had found what Peplink has done. Peplink's been in this business for over 12 years. They've been focused on creating the best SD-WAN solutions before SD-WAN was known. And they continue to do so today. Now, there's 4 characteristics to SD-WAN, and we'll kind of point out how Peplink fits into each of those. First, multi-WAN capabilities. Multi-WAN is really known around the Peplink users. That's what their focus and expertise is. Whether it's multiple wired connections, cellular connections, or a combination of all of them, Peplink has the widest, broadest portfolio of SD-WAN hardware products available on the market. They can touch anything from small home office applications, mid, medium, large businesses, all the way up to enterprise and data centers. Now, again, it's not just the capability of using or connecting multiple WAN links, but to be able to intelligently direct the data down the different paths. Peplink software, outbound policies, capabilities that you can build in, handle that very, very effectively. And third, you need to be able to manage these devices from one platform. And Peplink is continually working on their in-control management 2 platform. This is a one pane of glass access to all your devices and network information. You're able to centralize firewall rules and outbound policies from a single pane of glass. You're able to push these policies to one device or multiple devices in a group or organization. You can have comprehensive records of the network and systems, and you can have all these reports sent to you automatically and set. Basically, IC2 gives you access to the device from anywhere in the world. And lastly, and what I think is the most interesting, is the way Peplink takes and handles VPN. Most people are used to traditional VPNs, much like the PEP VPN, which is built over one link. That's much more like an IPsec, except that it only takes a couple minutes to configure and deploy. But Peplink has other technologies for their VPN and multiple WAN solutions, and they're very much ahead of its time. So First, we have hot failover. Hot failover is where you can have multiple links connected to the VPN, but you use one as primary. If that primary fails at any time, it will switch over to that secondary or third link with session persistence. And that's what's so important, session persistence. Being able to switch to another link and not drop your application, not have a phone call terminated or your webinar closed. The hot failover makes the user experience better. The next VPN technology we talk about is WAN smoothing. This is a new technology that's come up around over the last 2 years, and one that we're seeing great adoption with. WAN smoothing is where you use multiple links in your VPN and you send duplicate connection or packets down each of those links. We see a great increase in adoption into broadcasting, VoIP applications, and live streaming with WAN smoothing. These applications will only be more important as time moves forward, and with a lot of more remote workforces and different things like that that are coming to play. And WAN smoothing is a great way to meet those challenges. Last but not least, we have bandwidth bonding. This is what most people are interested in, whether they need to use it or not. But bandwidth bonding is able to take your multiple links or connections and combine the speed in one big pipe. You're able to create session persistence as links can drop in and drop out as they become healthy or unhealthy, and you're able to increase speed and bandwidth. Quick overview of some of the value props Peplink's able to bring to the table. One of the biggest that you'll see consistently over this table here is the persistent failover. So unbreakable connectivity is a motto that Peplink lives by. Being able to focus both on multiple wire connections but also wireless connections is a true competitive advantage for Peplink. And Peplink is a team filled with creative and very, very quality engineers, and they're always looking to bring more and better solutions to the table. A few things that we can talk on or we'll learn more about over the days, months, and quarters to come are their SD WAN controller with MSP level multi-network visibility, Speed Fusion Cloud with unbreakable connectivity services, and also Fusion SIM with virtualized SIM management. If anytime you want to learn more about these, please reach out to Frontier and we'd be happy to dig into those with you. So now how does Frontier fit in? Frontier US has been in business for more than 40 years. And through that time, we've been working with hardware the whole time. We work with IBM, HP, Sun, Dell, but also have a lot of experience with the Peplink product lines. We have unparalleled logistics and experience, superior knowledge across all our product lines that we are happy to share with our partners. And we have dedicated and trained certified sales and technical personnel, which once again, we are a resource to your team. For Peplink specifically, we've been working with them for 9 years. We were brought to Peplink because we started using their products in northern Michigan where we didn't have a lot of quality connections available. We started with a 210 and we liked it so much that we became a reseller. At that time, we quickly moved up their pedestal or their program, became a stocking distributor or reseller, and then a distributor. We're now a distributor for both North America and Europe. We understand their products and their capabilities very granularly and are happy to once again share that with our customers and partners. If you'd like more information to become a Peplink reseller or partner, please visit us at frontierus.com/resellers. And with that being said, we can move to questions.
Great, thanks, Mike. All right, so this question comes from Sergio. Can SD-WAN be configured for in-vehicle use? For example, switch LTE networks depending on geolocation. Is bandwidth bonding the feature that Sergio needs to look at for that, or is there another feature that helps with that?
Sergio, yes, definitely. Peplink's broad portfolio of products focuses both on the wired side, which you can see the Peplink Balance, but also the cellular side, which are the PepWave devices. PepWave has models that have 1 cellular modem, 2 cellular modems, 4, up to 18 active cellular modems that you can use together simultaneously. You can spread traffic across those cellular connections. You can bond those connections. You can create session persistence. So yes, very much Peplink does have the ability, but also SD WAN has the ability to work in mobile applications. Peplink just takes it to the next level with their focus portfolio on embedded devices.
Yeah, actually, isn't I think transit and maritime, those are all very big focus areas for Peplink, yeah?
Very, very much so. Some of their 2 fastest growing markets.
Great. So, and thank you, Sergio. Next question comes from Jay, which is what sort of overhead or bandwidth reduction should be expected with the SpeedFusion VPN?
Yeah, another great question, one we see. And it depends on the VPN you're using, but if you're doing true bonding, the SpeedFusion VPN, where you're using multiple links to create a bigger path or bigger pipe per se, that has an overhead of about 20%. So, and that's when you're doing encryption over that as well. So, to really do this in the best way, you want to have more like connections with the same speed and latency. If you have 1,000 or a 1 gig line and a 10 meg line, the overhead will take over the bandwidth increases. So there is overhead, range about 20%, but it is different per VPN type. And we can talk more on that if you'd like to dig more offline.
Thank you. Next question. This one comes from Adam. What solutions do you see used for inbound connectivity when using multiple WAN links, considering there are different IP blocks in use?
Well, first of all, by using multiple links on the inbound, Peplink has a great solution and works in drop-in mode. You can have inbound primary link and subnet that all your applications are pointing towards, but we can also point to a secondary or failover IP set on the second link. That second link, once those inbound sessions come in, will then be forwarded on to the firewall with one-to-one NAT and look like they're coming from the primary, so that device can handle the routing and internal pieces. So you can create inbound load balancing and failover as well with the Peplink devices. To talk more in detail on that one, we probably want to get an engineer on the line with you, Adam, and we can dig in more.
Awesome. Follow up from earlier from Martin. So you cannot bond VSAT and cellular because of the latency differences, or can you?
We usually do not see them bonded together because of those issues, but we can see them utilized in the same VPN with different priority levels. And so you can still create the session persistence over that.
Great. Great. That's great to know. We had a question from Abraham about overseas distributors and where there would be distribution in Middle East or North Africa. We are ourselves focused in North America, although Frontier does have we do have a branch basically in Europe. Do you know what they cover by any chance, Mike?
Yeah, well, yep, and they cover all of Europe, but we also have we have a history of working with Peplink for a long time and know a lot of their channel partners across the world. These are made up of multiple distributors and resellers. So if you'd like to, for a specific area, you can always reach out and we'll put you in touch with Peplink and the right partner to handle that. Or you can reach out to Peplink directly and they will put you in touch with the partner in the area you're looking to deploy.
Awesome. Yeah, happy to help you out. Next question comes from Jack. This one is, we're looking to set up a Fusion Hub through AWS. Is the Fusion Hub limited to a specific group, or can it be used at the organization level? So can Can Peplink, I'm guessing Peplink devices from different groups connect through the one Fusion Hub?
Very good question. I will want to probably double check on this, but I do believe that you can connect devices in the organization to the Fusion Hub directly. Now, you want to be careful when you're doing that because different organizations will have different rules, levels, accessibility, and different things like that, but you should be able to use that Fusion Hub across the organization. I will double check on that though with engineering.
Great, thank you. Had a comment come in from Mike. My understanding is the Peplink SpeedFusion speed rating for each model is all connections combined. In comparing to Meraki, it seems like we need much bigger and more expensive appliances to get the same SD-WAN performance. What do you say to that, Mike?
What we look at is we look at the devices and we do the throughput ratings as a whole. So if the VPN rating says 100, that's a combined 100 for up and down across all the multiple links. That's the throughput you can push through. And that's also for a non-VPN traffic is how it's judged. It's not per link. So we can talk more on the benefits or challenges of that compared to Meraki, but that's how the Peplink devices are handled. They're not licensing on those for increased bandwidth or throughput capabilities. They are, it's as a hardware spec that you have to look at.
Got it. All right, I've got a pair of questions from Lauren. First one is a single site customer with SpeedFusion able to use hot failover? And then can multiple customers be part of a single SpeedFusion hub?
Can a single site use SpeedFusion and hot
Yes.
failover?
Mm-hmm.
Was the first question?
That was the first question.
Okay, yes. So this is a VPN and site-to-site solution. So there needs to be two endpoints. Now, Peplink has understood that it does take that not everyone has this second location or data center capability, and because of that, they've hosted their own VPN termination point in AWS that can be used as a service, and that would allow you to get that hot failover capabilities at a single site location. And the second question?
The second question was, and can multiple customers be part of a single SpeedFusion hub?
Can multiple customers? So if your SpeedFusion hub in the cloud, you can connect multiple customers there. Again, we'd want to look at the setup and the access that's granted to that. But once again, on the deployment and the configuration, I'd probably want to talk more on engineering. So if you want to follow up, we can talk in more detail on that.
Got it. Yeah, Lauren, feel free to follow up with us, or if we're missing part of your question, then
yeah, my apologies.
Absolutely. Yeah, no worries. Let's see. We had a question from Martin who asked earlier about bonding VSAT and cellular. Mentioned that he purchases a lot of Peplink products. Do you know if the power supplies can be Euro plugs instead of US plugs? Martin, to be clear, we're a distributor of Peplink products rather than Peplink ourselves. But yeah, Mike, is it possible to get power supplies in Euro plugs? Do you know?
It definitely is possible, yes. And they have all these products have very wide power ratings, so they can handle the different plugs as well. So we can get access and purchase those plugs for you. Just let us know. You can get them for any geographic region needed.
Awesome. And he actually, another follow-up question. It's a great question, product specific. Can you give a specific reason why to choose an MBX over two rugged transit duos? And if you want to give some context over what specifically those are for anyone that's in here who's not aware, that'd be awesome too. The MBX over the
yeah. So the MBX is one of our new flagship products. It's a 5G ready module device, kind of based off the old HD4 spec. It has four. It can have up to four active modules in there. It can handle, I believe, 2.5 gigs of traffic, and which is one of the reasons you go for the MBX and not the Transit Duos, which have much lower throughput capabilities. But also, it's one device that handles everything and is 5G ready once again. A lot more powerful. The Transit Duos, another great product that we have. Using two of those just brings complexity to that deployment, but also the throughput capabilities aren't there as the MBX. There's a lot more ports and capabilities on that MBX as well for wired connections, SFP ports or whatnot. So it really, to dig into that more, we'd have to look at your exact application and what you're looking to do, because at some point those TSDs may be a better solution, but we just have to look into it more.
Got it. Mike, is there anything based on the kinds of questions that you're getting, or anything that you'd like to just make sure gets said before we let everyone go for the afternoon? If not, that's fine.
No, I mean, a lot of these questions are really directed at how the Peplink works with the multiple WANs and different things. And those are definitely all questions that we can dig in much deeper on than I was able to today. So just never hesitate to reach out, pre-sales support, or just to discuss certain support solutions or applications. We're happy to brainstorm. So great questions, and each one is really unique. So we want to talk about the application specifically to answer them correctly. So
got it.
Please reach out.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I haven't gotten any more questions. So if you'd like to keep up with Frontier and with Peplink, feel free to follow us on social media. We are on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Reach out to Mike, reach out to our team with any questions, any additional questions you might have, especially as relates to partnership with Frontier, becoming a Peplink reseller. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.